Right, so hi everybody, I think that we're on. So welcome to the July reading. I know this is a little bit late, but I will always go with the right timing to do the readings. And I still feel like there was a lot of clearing happening for this Cancer new moon, which we had at the start of the month. And actually, it was in conjunct with Black Moon Lilith. And I do really feel that there was, it felt like a full moon for me. I'm going to be honest and say I'm not a fan of Cancer moons. Sorry, I'm not. I just find them like really emotional and like, it's a bit like, there's a bit of like energetic whiplash after them, like a bit of a surprise. Anyway, it's all good, it's all good. That's just my personal opinion, guys. So, you know, I don't want to project that onto anybody. But I hope you're well. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Angela and I've been doing readings for many years. There's probably a little bit in my bio there on the about. You'll probably see me a bit more on Facebook in my group. I tend to do a lot more videos where I'm actually in the video on there and have chats with the members of the group in there. So please feel free to join that if it's something that you know, would like to resonate with. I don't ask, you know, of anything of people apart from just to turn up energetically. So where do I start? So I tried to do this reading yesterday and it was just going on forever. And I've had this recently where I'm doing readings and like my guides, especially Carly in particular, the video is just not meant to go up. So there's some kind of healing being put out into the world. It's like energy healing. But I'm not probably necessarily meant to put it out publicly. I mean, there's been some very sensitive subjects that Spirit have been talking about with me as well. So that's all good. I'm just trusting the process. I hope that you are well. I hope that you're being well. So July is a very big month in the energy. It's all about, we'll be stepping to Leo season on the 21st of July. So that's very, it's stepping really into the light. The Cancer is the moon, so it's, you know, it's ruled by the moon. Leo is ruled by the sun, so it's like day to night. So we're having these very, very different experiences throughout the month. And it's about embracing them because there are times to go into that moon energy, which is feminine, and then there's times to go into, so it's like the dark of the moon is very much like Black Moon Lilith, which this Cancer new moon was actually in conjunct with. And I didn't write that on any of my posts with on Facebook because Spirit didn't guide me to do that. But what it was doing was it was working through, it was bringing up, because new moons are always about illumination. So they're bringing newness, they're bringing a rebirth energy. But sometimes with that rebirth, it can be difficult. It can bring up areas that we've just pushed down for too long. And this can be societal, it can be collective. And this was all about the repressed feminine. So that's really been playing out. And also mothering and mother issues. So maybe where we haven't been putting ourselves and our needs first. Maybe a readdressment of behaviours and patterns around what we can offer people and what we offer to ourselves, and, you know, a kind of a rebalancing of the energies around that. It could be about bringing up areas around attachment styles. So, you know, how we were mothered and how that's affected our behaviours and our patterning to this day. So I'm going to get straight onto this because as soon as I finish this reading, I'm going to head off to the gym. So I'm actually in my gym gear and I'm ready to go. But so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna pull all the cards. So I'm just gonna light a little bit of sage, and then I'm also going to use my holy wood as well for grounding. So I don't know how you've been finding July so far. I know it's the 4th of July yesterday, which is Independence Freedom Day in America, isn't it? So if you have celebrated, you know, I'm wishing you my best there. I know there's been a lot of controversy because a lot of people have chosen to cancel it. And I just feel that, I'm not American, and I don't really have a lot of links to America. I know some people in my group are from America. And what I would just say to you is, you've just got to do what you feel is right for you. I am really learning as I go on this path. It's about learning to really release judgments. And I will go through some of the themes that I was given as well. So the sage is just burning gently there, actually, in the background. For me, this just releases, it's just the smell of the Palo Santo wood really works for me. It just grounds me. And I know when I get ungrounded, it's actually quite rare for me to get ungrounded because I'm a Taurus, so I'm an earth sign, so I'll always instinctively do things that help me to regroup and reground when I'm feeling grounded. But for me, it shows up feeling a little bit dizzy, lightheaded, spaced out. It's not being able to make a decision. Feeling my energy feels very scattered. Right, so those two are going to go there. Right, so just before I start, there might be a little bit of noise. Unfortunately, I can't do anything about it. I've been trying to record my readings and my work around the builders that are working on the wall, so there might be an odd knock here or there, guys, but it's not a meditation reading, so I've got to work with what I've got. Right, so spirit guides, angels, source to oversee, the beauty, the grace, the complete divine guidance of clarity, communication, of confirmation. I ask you to bring in your diamond white light around each and every one of us listening to this reading at this point, in any direction of time, but especially through me, within me, around me, surround me with your grace and love. And so it is. Right, so Carly, messages for July, please. Messages for July. Right, okay, so she's saying we can't fight fire with fire. Sorry guys, I'm just going to move the camera up a little bit, just bear with me. There we go, because you can kind of see the edge of my computer and I don't want that to show in the reading. Right, okay, so messages for July, please, messages for July. Yeah, right, okay, so she wants me to start with some of the information she's been showing me throughout June, actually. Okay, can you please pull the cards for me? She's saying yes, they're coming, don't be impatient. Right, okay. Okay, right, okay, so this is right, okay, so the messages I'm really getting with Carla here is that we're going to be shining our light. So there's a lot of, as you can see in these cards, with the Carla cards, is this red colour. So the first cards, I'm just going to work with these cards, I'm not going to look at the meaning. So Bavatarini, okay, so this is like what we're passionate about, what we're going to shine our light on, it's like a cause. She's describing it like a cause, what are we working on, what are we working with, what's going to help in our world. We've got to be really smart with our energy now, she's saying. And it's funny because this second card, so it's 44, it's a very divinely guided number. Smashana, my apologies if I don't pronounce the Sanskrit correctly. This is really cutting through a lot of the crap. Okay, Carly doesn't mince her words and she doesn't waste her time either. And she shows her face to you when you are ready, not when you think you're ready, when she knows that you're ready. And then we've got 34, Kurukula, which for me is very much like, where are you hitting your mark? So she's got arrows and she's got one in her hand and she's focused on it. So there's an element of clarity coming through these cards for me. There's, the swords it's in the tarot, that's linked to air, it's linked to our mental clarity. And so she wants to talk about a lot of out there, what's going on out there, because we're now very energetic beings, so we are really, really picking up on everything, but she's saying that doesn't mean we have to absorb it. So a skill to really focus and develop on now is regulating your own nervous system. So there are always going to be things that are going to really affect us. So there's the two communities that I see, you know, a rebalancing needs to be readdressed, and there's no kind of beating around the subject matter here. In the truth community, some people call it conspiracy theory, some people call it uncensored. So these are communities that are uncensored, that we see on platforms that are not being, so there's a misrepresentation now on media platforms of what we're allowed to talk about. We can't speak freely about a lot of things. People either get cancelled, they either get banned, they either get whatever. We all know that this is going on. So, but also on these other platforms, there's also not much there's no moderation. So yesterday I signed on, I had a look at one of these groups that I am a member of, because the guy that runs it I really like. He's really into like health and nutrition. It's something that I'm really into as well. And I often will research it just for myself or just for interest. And his work is really great. A lot of his work for me resonates. And he's got a group, and there's a lot of brilliant information on there that you can't find on mainstream media. However, there's also a lot of vitriolic, not very nice energy on there as well. So you've got to be very discerning. Now, a lot of people might say to me, oh, well, Angela, you know, you work doing readings and healing and whatever, and, you know, why are you a member of this? But like, for me, I'm able to discern. I can go through the posts and I can tell. I can actually feel the energy behind what people are posting. And there's a post that came up yesterday. So I would call this a truth community, because I don't feel I belong in either. I feel like I've got my own, which is my connection with spirit, and I've got my own community on Facebook where I personally believe people should be able to come in and be themselves. I don't want to censor anybody. I'm just really smart of how I work with the system, so I won't overtly spell out, like I'll spell things out, I won't say the words, because I know that, you know, I've also worked in IT, and all the experts that I've worked with have told me that they're listening to everything. There's no such thing as privacy anymore, and that's just the truth. So I don't put out anything that I would ever worry about so I can sleep at night. That's the way I work with tech, is I just think, well, if it comes back to haunt me and I said it and I've forgotten about it, I won't be too bothered, because it either came from my heart or it came from a good place. But none of us are perfect. We all make mistakes. But this post was so vitriolic, and it was about a spiritual teacher, and it was saying that she's this, and this, and it was full of absolute, like, it was really poisonous. It was really toxic. It was just awful. And they were saying like how she's telling people to do this and whatever. And I just thought, right, okay. So first of all, I just thought this is just a reflection of that person's energy, of the way that they are. It's like a traumatic response. They're just so triggered by what she's doing. She's minding her own business, getting on with her own life, helping people. Now that guise of what she's doing might not fit that person who posted that vitriolic post about her. Why don't they just let her get on with it? You know, let her get on with it. You don't resonate with her work, but actually if you tune into her, she's not somebody I resonate with either, but that doesn't mean I'm going to hate her. I mean, that's such a strong response. And then also to go to that time and trouble to really dehumanize her actually, and you know, defame her character was totally unnecessary. And it's actually counterproductive, because when I see things like this, I'm really not going to pay attention to anything that person's going to say, because I think, well, if you're capable of doing that, what else are you going to do? And I know that this teacher has got no idea that these posts are going up about her. But actually, if you tune into her work, which is what I have done, is I feel that her work is for people that are starting to open up to spirituality, or they're going through a very, very, really shadow period of their life, and she helps them get through it. Now, if the person had the emotional intelligence to tune into that and actually see the bigger picture and come from their higher self, not their lower self, because the lower self is always the judgmental, it's like the side of us that hasn't spiritually and emotionally matured, that's still stuck in the past and still stuck in these really negative patterns that we need to clear and release. And look, we all have shadow aspects that we don't like about ourselves, but it really showed me something about a lot of the stuff that's been planted in these truth communities now is also not real. Now, that doesn't mean that the spiritual community also is going to get away with this, because there's a lot of people who have their head in the sand in the spiritual community that are not going to talk about subjects that require the truth. One of those was like the pandemic and what was going on behind the scenes, the energy behind a lot of decisions that were made. There's a lot around like big pharma, the protection of children. These are very, very deep shadow aspects of human existence. And I know we don't want to talk about them in these communities because we can't love and light it. We've actually got to look at what humans are capable of. But I will say this also, and I've been working with Carly now for some time, which is that we can't always be in the shadow, guys. We've got to come out and into the light. And I feel what she's saying here is that there are going to be more and more shadow aspects clearing through this Pluto and Capricorn cycle that we're going through. As it goes towards the end, which is going to be this next year, it's going to go over that critical degree of Pluto in Capricorn, which is at 29 degrees before it hits the next sign. And this is where we get everything coming up. And these are like where, these really old structures that only support certain people and the elite, we're being shown, we're being shown what we've been dealing with. But what we need to do here is we need to channel our energy to help. There's only so much digging you can do. Whereas, what are you going to do with that? There's only so much going down the rabbit hole that you can do. We can only tolerate a certain amount of shadow. And it's just a fact, okay? If any of you have done shadow work, you can only tolerate a certain amount of shadow because you're not meant to stay in there. You're also not meant to live from that place. You go in and you look at the parts of yourself that maybe you've shamed, you've put out in the cold, you don't want to recognize in yourself because there's some element of shame to it. You don't want to admit that you've got these, we've got to be real and we've got to be raw and we've got to be, that's what really Carly works with, is the real raw beauty of being real. But the thing is, we can't fight fire with fire, we'll just burn out. So it's great to bring the truth out. I'm fully supportive of everything being put out on the table. But then we've got to work with it and we've got to heal it. We can't just be vitriolic to people who aren't maybe ready to hear it yet. But what we can do is we can actually look at how we address and how we share this information. If we're going to start attacking people for maybe not being at the place where we're at, we're not going to get anywhere, are we? And also, I'm not going to get on board with somebody who's being nasty to other people. I'm not going to support that behaviour. And I think what Carly is saying is, there's going to be more shadow coming up, but we are going to be stepping into this Leo season, and we are, there's a time and a place for things. And, if you are in those communities, you do need to also look at your energy, because if you're constantly looking at that material, it's going to affect your energy. And they say, isn't it, that you become the 5 people you surround yourself with. If you are in, say, like a toxic working environment, that's going to make you ill if you stay in it. There's only going to be certain points where not everybody can detach themselves. And there's a real spiritual teaching around this, because to do this work of moving into unity consciousness it's not attacking other people who don't see the truth, and it's also not a head in the sand. It's actually looking at things, which is really the premise of what shadow work is. So you shine the light on things to get the truth, to get to the heart of the matter, and then you spend the time healing it or giving it the love and the support that it needs. But throughout this process, you stay in your heart. So, you know, we can't fix everything in society all at once. It's not going to happen at once. This is what these cards are saying. So if I put them this way around to you, it's, you know, it's not going to happen all at once. It's just not going to. But what we can do is we can choose our battles wisely, because we've all got different battles, guys. You know, we've all got different things that we've got to focus on. And actually in July, what Carly is saying is there are going to be shifts and a focus for many of us. If we are in an area where we are leaders, or we are truth seekers, or we're way showers, or whatever you want to label it, is there might be a specific cause or an area that you're going to be working on, and it might even be in your work. So like there might be a specific subject matter, and this can be really light and bright, but it's actually offering the world some help in that area. So it might be something that you've gone through in your own life, that actually you've got the PhD of life, School of Life, to teach this, because there's nothing better than somebody who's walked the path before others. They have done the work, they've done the healing work, and then they're able to offer an insight or an inspiration to help other people going through it. And that can be really important. So what Carly is saying is look, you know, for many of us in July, we're really going to be able to be much more energy efficient with our psychic energy, with our emotional empathy, and, you know, not allow a lot of what's going out there in the world really affect us on such a personal level that it affects our health, or it affects our moods, it affects our ability to function, make clear decisions, because actually that's also a control aspect that's happening from not a healthy energy that's out there that wants to control us. And you want to call this whatever you want to call it, you know, fire away, but it does exist. I'm in no way under any illusion of what's going on out there. You know, in the West, we're very, very lucky. I live in the UK. We're very blessed with a lot of the way our life functions here. But I am also aware of the real misalignment and balance of finances and access to resources in a Western society that really at this point, you know, we would have thought it would be much more balanced. And I think there's more readdressment of this to come. So those are the Carly cards. I'm just going to put those at the side there, guys. And then I'm going to now look at the Black Moon astrology. So, I mean, Carly doesn't really mince her words, and she also doesn't shy away from the real areas of life that need addressing. And it was interesting because the last reading that I did, I can't remember if I put it up on YouTube, but they were allaying to the whole protection of children and areas that were going to come up and out in the public media, and actually to do with I can't find the word, I was trying to find the word yesterday, you know, the kind of dysfunctional structures around money in Australia. And actually I spoke to my friend who lives there, and I didn't know this because I don't get the Australian news. I mean, I don't read it because I'm here in the UK, and she actually said that they've uncovered all this you know, disruption where money has been wasted, and there's been a lot of contracts and multi-million-dollar and billion-dollar golden handshakes, like the old boys network, and it's all being uncovered in Australia. And I didn't know that because I just thought, God, that's an interesting message for, I don't know if it was June or it was around the full moon last month. It's one of those readings anyway. And the next day, all this came out in the newspaper in the UK about the girls that took the grooming gangs in the northwest of England to court, and the horror that they had to go through. Again, this is linked all to this Black Moon Lilith energy, which is where they just weren't believed for so long. They just were not believed. Yes, this is what we're being guided to do, is to bring some stability into our lives this month. And this is like, you know, don't wait for the government or any external agency, establishment or source to provide this to you. What Spirit is saying is this is an inside job now. It's an inside job. And actually, you know, if we look at that, grand blessings, grand trine, which is blessings. A grand trine means when you've got three, can you see this picture here? So you've got these like 3 points where planets who are in a beneficial relationship together. So it would be like 3 water signs. A trine is 3 signs that come together that are affiliated in a benefic way, and they get into placement. So I don't know if there's something like that coming up, whether there are 3 signs coming together in July. Maybe, I don't know. 10th house, the world, ending of one cycle, the Black Moon, Lilith, yes, and the mind, Mercury. So what Spirit is saying is it's like there's a little bit of a hangover from June regarding this Black Moon, Lilith, and in Cancer, and the new moon in Cancer. It's why it felt like a full moon to me. I felt like it was a massive clearing. So it's brought up some very, very, I won't even say they're contentious, really, really sensitive subjects around the female body, around the female form, of how we have, how the femininity is treated. You know, there's a lot in our society about now the over-sexualization of femininity, to the point where it's really, it's disrupted relationships as well. The ability for people to connect. But we're actually seeing this in the area of the mental function. So we're seeing this, I wouldn't say it viscerally, we're seeing this in the written word, the spoken word, in like the law. You know, I know we don't have Libra coming out here, but this is what Mercury, it's communication, it's talking, it's, you know, it's sharing information, isn't it? So I think the mind is trying to process at the moment a lot of these things where we're thinking, hang on here, this is not necessarily what we want now moving forward. We want this clearing and healing around femininity, and this is a range of subjects. Spirit is saying it's not just about, even though that is a very prominent subject at the moment, and rightfully so, but it's almost like the divine feminine wants her stability now. She wants her place cemented here on the earth, and it's time, because we've got the 10th house is about career, but it's also about moving on, moving forward. And if we do, and if we actually deliberate and we actually look at these subjects, it is going to bring in many blessings, even though at the moment it doesn't feel like it. Because usually when we shine the light on an imbalance or a subject or an area that isn't serving for the good of either the collective or a group of people, it's very uncomfortable when we start to unearth some of these belief systems and these decisions that are made on behalf of the feminine form, I want to say. What Spirit are also saying is there's a lot yet to be unearthed around this. There's a lot of imbalances to do with divine femininity, and this is going to continue for quite some time, they're saying, but it's necessary. They're also pointing me around hormone disruptors as well for women in our foods, in our packaging, actually in our water. So they're saying there's something to do with the water and how that's also affecting the physiology of the biology of women. So there's something around this. I wasn't really expecting this to come out, but that again is going to come up and be discussed. Yeah, so that's for July. That's very interesting, actually. But the best thing that we can do is, as these highly charged emotive subjects come up, is the inside job is to work on our own nervous system, because there's so much set up in our world that's almost, I don't want to say designed, but it can encourage dysregulation of your nervous system. And, you know, it might be for periods of time that you step away from certain things, that you have what Carly is saying, you need now definitive things that you do that rest and recharge you, okay? And you don't make excuses to anybody why you're doing that. Yeah, that's what she's just saying around that. So I'm going to leave that there, guys, because I think I've covered that as much as I can. Right, so now I'm going to go into the Baroque Tarot. I nearly said Barack then. What's that about? Barack Obama. Maybe you might be hearing something around him. The Baroque Tarot, which are a beautiful pack of cards that my friend gifted me this month, and my Fairy Tarot. So I'm going to put the Carla cards away now for a while. And I am then going to have a look in the tarot. What messages have you got for a spirit around July, please? Thank you so much. Messages for July for all of us watching. Collective messages for July. Anything you want to share with us for July, just throw the cards out, please. What I'm also hearing is, like, you'll know when you need to rest, because you might be like, well, how do I know when things are affecting me? If you're like me, I usually know when I'm feeling a little bit like not right. So it's almost like my body starts to give me signs. But what they're saying is your head might feel a bit woolly. And it's like, again, it's like your ear chakras. What have you been listening to? Like, you need... Like, I've got my beautiful heart chakra music on in the background. This is the Zen Life mix on YouTube, and I love it. And actually, what happens for me is music automatically cleanses my energetic space. And the same for some of you, it's necessary for you to clear your homes. They're saying it's not enough to just put a crystal in there. You've got to work with it. You've got to have some intention and focus. You've actually got to connect your energy with the purpose of cleansing the space, and then it can move. It's like energy needs a catalyst, Spirit is saying. It needs something to help it to move. That's how it gets stuck. It needs a vibrational instigator is what I'm hearing. Right, okay, thank you. So, July messages, please. A lot of you have got your windows open anyway. I've had to close mine in case the builders are at it again. Messages for July for all of us. What would you like to share with us? Messages for July. Messages for July. Just as I've said that now, they started the banging anyway. This is what it is. Messages for July. I'm not surprised the Ace of Pentacles came out. That came out yesterday. Messages for July. Okay, right. So Carly's back again. She's so funny. A bit of work. Okay. Okay. Yeah. That's pointing out, so I'm going to take that. Right, I will turn these cards around, guys, and I'm going to ask for more cards around this. Right, let's just have a little bit more coffee. I'm going to look at them first. Right, okay. Right, it's gone. That's fine, it'll come back. I feel there's still going to be, I just feel like there's going to be something birthing, because we've got the Ace of Pentacles here. I will turn these cards around. But this feels to me towards the last part of July. There's an element of a switch coming for the first couple of weeks, which we're already in, which is great. And this is to do with perspective, because the Hanged Man is there. But there's something, so we've got the Star here, so there's something Spirit wants to bring into our lives. And it's a moving away from this Five of Pentacles, which is being left out in the cold. So this is going to mean different things. So I'm going to use more blanket statements here, because I am aware with a collective reading, it really does play out very differently in people's lives. But if it's said in a way where you actually focus on the symbolic meanings of the cards and what the storyboard of what Spirit are presenting to us, it really helps people understand where this energy, you don't make it fit in your life, but where it's applicable. So we've got the Queen of Swords here. Now, I'm pretty sure that this card came out upside down. I'm just going to ask them, did that card come out upside down? Seven of Swords, yeah, there was... the Seven of Swords is about deceit and dishonesty, but also it can mean the Emperor, Aries. So it can be about something that we can't yet see. But the Queen of Swords, she came out yesterday as well. The Queen of Swords is a feminine energy, so it's receptive. It's that knowing wisdom within. Whereas the masculine it's quite raw and it comes in very fast. With the feminine, it's more feeling out in your waters. It's more emotionally receptive. So there's something, truth to be revealed for you. And it's to do with an energy around changing a perspective, around feeling this Five of Pentacles, which is being left out in the cold. So this can be about money. It can be about, well, how am I going to make money? How am I going to receive what I need? How am I going to do this? What is it that there's something that's maybe held me back? It's to do with isolation, feeling isolated, or feeling like we don't fit in, or feeling where our place is, or feeling misunderstood. But actually, it's time for this to come up. This is what this Cancer new moon brought up. It brought up this divisive moment, actually, but I'm also hearing decisive moment where it's time to look at this, because it's blessed. The stars come out, which is Aquarius, but it's also about, for me, there's a real divine blessing about, you know, if we face things now, we're going to get a new perspective on life, but we're also going to open up to this. There's something that's going to be revealed to us, which is to do with our new start, and it's to do with the Suit of Pentacles. So it's to do with our physical foundation in life on the earth. It's to do with our resources. It's to do with our money. It's to do with how we earn our money. It's how we build a new business. Even that can be more wands, because that's more of an enterprise. The Pentacles is like, well, how we do our earthly life in an abundant, you know, this is like, you know, the universe is bringing in a big blessing here in the Suit of Pentacles. And I do feel it is to do with how we work for some people. So it's the Eight of Pentacles is the hard working card. It's come out with the moon. So this is something that's very, very, the moon card for me is shining a light on something that maybe been out of reach before, or it's felt like it's been held back from you, or it's not been the right time, because the moon is all about cycles as well. So it could be that it's time to hone a skill, or it's time to master a skill, or put yourself to work or focus on an area of your life which is much more receptive and in tune with who you are, because the moon card is there. But also it can be linked to look, it's just the right time now to put yourself, to commit. The Eight of Pentacles is just literally, and eight's a power number and it's linked to abundance as well. So, it could be that you're really busy right now with work and you're just getting more clients after a cold spell. But there is a shift coming here because the Hanged Man is there, and that's always about seeing things in a completely new light, because he's come upright. So look, that can be, we're suspended and we feel like nothing is happening, but actually the Queen of Swords is the first card that came out around this, which is like, look, it's time to be decisive, divisive actually. So, even though the Hanged Man is there, I'm not feeling that you're meant to sit on the fence around some of your decisions. There's something to do around money, but also about starting something new. It's now time to not put it off. Now what's interesting around this is we've got the Ten of Cups, because this is like the grounding energy. So this is like saying, look, whatever it is, it's bringing fulfillment, it's bringing balance, temperance. It's asking you to walk away from this old. The Eight of Cups is walking away from the past. It's time. And the Ace of Swords is there, guys. So you've got to be honest with yourself. You've got to let go what's not working. And actually what I'm hearing for some people is this is going to be your routine. Some elements of your routine are not working. And the Strength card is there. So they're saying by the time we get into Leo energy, this is the Leo card as well as the Sun, you will have done this, which is the 21st of July. So there might be something specific that you're working on, like the Hanged Man. It might be a behavior or a pattern in your routine, which is holding you in this like suspended state. I felt like this when I used to smoke. I know it's such a whatever habit, but I've got no judgment on it. If people want to smoke, it's fine. But I never, it was actually keeping me in a holding pattern, actually, the energy of it. Not only with my energy work, but in my life as well. And it was the best thing I ever did when I gave it up. And also, this is another message that I got from Spirit, that if you are wanting to work through something this month that requires your time, attention, your healing, maybe energy healing, it's not going to take you very long to work through it. This is what I discovered with smoking. So I tried to give up, and all it was I was just trying to hide all my grief. I'd had a lot of loss over a period in my life, and I'd used it as a coping mechanism. Anyway, cut a long story short, somewhere in my brain, my little brain up there, I had this belief that it was going to be really, really hard and it was going to take me forever. And actually it was quite the opposite. So many things started to happen in my life to say, look, it's time. And also for some of us, our lungs are actually our weak point. And in Chinese medicine, there's actually a belief that you smoke to heat up your lungs, because your lungs are the seat of grief. And I know this was the truth to me, because when I heard it, I was like, oh my God, that resonates so much. Everything in my body went, yes. Your body will always give you your answers. It's your first visceral psychic tool that you've got. And actually I was getting more and more messages as the time went on that my lungs were not going to thank me for this. So I was getting warning signs. And then when I did finally get quite ill, it was like, I didn't have a choice in the matter. It was like, look, you can't do this anymore. And it was just out of my life like that. It was like an Ace of Swords moment. So what I want to say, and I got this message before I even started this reading, is there's this element to do with this month, which is that if there's an area in your life that you've been struggling with, it's now the time. The Eight of Cups is walking away from it. It's bringing, I'm hearing the word misery. And actually, it's the secret to your success and your fulfillment. And you're going to have the power and the strength to do it this month. This month feels like, for me, a power month. As we move into this energy of Leo, it's like the sun, the light. We're getting the energy of the sun to work with the ego aspects of self that are holding us back. Right, guys, I'm just checking how I'm doing for time on here. Right, I'm not too far off, 44 minutes. Right, any messages now and the cards, please, Spirit, for July to finish off, and then I'm going to save this and I'm going to get on and do my workout. Right, messages for July for all of us, please, Spirit. What would you like us to know? They're saying if we regulate our nervous system as well, it helps to regulate our hormones. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that can be backed up. I mean, obviously I'm not a doctor, but I'm pretty sure that can be backed up by the science. Yeah, because they're saying it's this overproduction of stress hormones. It's really affecting a lot of people's health. And what they're also saying is, you know, long term, it can promote things like diabetes in the body, because when we have an excess production of cortisol, our insulin resistance goes up as well. I actually am studying nutrition at the moment, guys, so I can actually, you know, give you the facts on that. Not right now, but they're just reminding me to tell that to you. Sorry, it's just something come through the door. Right, July, please. Closing out cards, please, Spirit. July. Messages for all of us. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. What's that about? Yeah, it's a real big, this start of the month is breaking free, letting go. Trust your intuition. Again, this is like trusting your body. It's going to bring in the newness of what you're asking for. So it's going to open up your manifestation abilities. So breaking free, letting go is actually going to free up your energy. Trust your intuition. So again, your divine prescription is going to be what Spirit guides you through your body. And this new location card for me is very much to do with shifting your energy. It's bringing you into this new perspective, this new place. There's all this new energy of light available to you guys. And actually what Carly's saying is, if these communities united and had a bit of understanding from where they're both coming from, which a lot of us do, because I see it, you take what they're good at doing, which is, one is good at revealing the truth, but what she's also saying is there's a lot of misinformation being planted into a lot of these communities as well. Not all of it is. I mean, I think this guy on his group, if he knew, I don't think he's on there all the time, because I know if that was in my group, I'd be like, mate, I'm sorry, but like, what is this? Where have you got this information from? Like, I can actually see a lot of it is, it doesn't, there's no truth in it. And I think a lot of it is, it's been planted. So you're actually doing the work for, you know, the dark structures yourself by actually promoting it. You're doing their peddling. And this is why this is so important, guys. This is why we're in the times now where the only thing that's really the truth is your intuition. You know, not through the filters of your ego, but your intuition. Your body will always tell you when somebody's being honest to you or not. It will always give you an indication if something isn't quite right. And we really have to do this with the information that's been put out on the internet. You know, what's going into your internet from the internet. We really have to look at this, because it's just going to, you know, we're so energetic now that we tending to our psychic hygiene and boundaries and energy and health is as much important to our emotional and mental and physical health than ever before. So this is just a lovely message saying it's a great time this month for family harmony, beauty and dreams coming true. So this is basically a message is, don't forget to spend time, make an effort and spend time with those that you love in places that bring you harmony within you, because it really does open up your channels of your intuition. It's also really important to replenish and rest this month. Again, this is a real nod to, we can't always be listening to all the shadow aspects of life. There is a big cleansing that's going on our planet that's going to go on for many years to come. But it's not something that we should fear, okay? Because fear will always hold us back. It will always hold us in the past. we do need to face some things and we do need to heal them, but we can still do it from a place of strength. We can do it from a place of love. What we need to remember is we need to stay in our hearts. We're much more powerful and effective together if we do this, whereas if we actually fall into the trap and we actually get really caught up in this divide and conquer, and actually breaking out of that spell that we've been kind of convinced is the way that we're gonna be progressive and we're gonna break through. There's actually a different way, which is the middle way. It's just that we haven't really done it before. But we're getting there. It just involves coming together. And like what I said before about that person posting, all it does is it becomes like I would say like a spiritual deterrent. People just don't want to be around that. They don't, unless they are of that same energetic alignment, which is a vitriolic lower self, which is, well, I will attack somebody to feel better. Again, in our inner circle, we want to have people who let us be who we are, our raw selves, but they don't operate from their lower self all the time and project it onto us, because actually that's really exhausting to be around. I would be mindful this month as well around people getting really triggered by a lot of this stuff coming up. That's their trauma to heal that they need to go off and look at. If you're ever triggered, it's because you've got something in there that you've not, that just needs your love, time, attention and healing. It needs the shadow aspect maybe looking at. But we don't all have to do what that person does. We don't have to act out from our lower self. We can see our lower self exists, it's a part of us, and we can say, right, okay, I'm aware of this, I know what's going on here. But it becomes very destructive when we start to act and react from that place. So I feel like this is a message of balance, that we want to be around those people that we feel loved and supported by excuse me, but we also feel accepted by, and we can actually replenish, we can rest, and we can reset with them by our sides. And I actually feel there might be more and more people coming into our lives, or we're starting to really identify the people that we can do this with. Now, this isn't people that we just spew on and we offload our problems onto, because that's really not fair. But these are people that we can truly be ourselves, but they also know that we're accountable and we're personally responsible for working through our issues. And I just see like this, almost like this revealing in many of our lives at the moment, of these people that we can be this person with, which is our best self. They encourage us to be our best self. Because I think the days of us being projected or energetically vomited on, and it's just not fair. It's not fair, guys. And if we're doing this, we need to be mindful of this. This is the time to get the journal out, or to go and see a counsellor or somebody professional. It's not, everybody does have their level of issues and problems that they're going through, and we do have to be mindful of this, because part of being on the spiritual path and being awakened is that we take personal responsibility for ourselves. Often the healing will come many, many years down the path. It's not always automatic for a lot of people. The awakening part is actually the exciting part, because we start to see where we fit into our own lives, are in the creation of all things, and they're actually part of this process down here on earth. But actually the deep inner healing work, and what I would call the spiritual review that many of us have been doing down here, that you would normally do up in the spirit world when you pass over, that can often come further and further down the line, because we have to be ready to do that work, and not everybody is ready straight away. There's a period of uncovering and getting to know yourself, which is it just takes time, and it takes a process, guys. So yeah, don't forget to be around those that you feel nurtured with, and it's not a transactional relationship. So just mind yourself this month when you're around people that you feel drained by, because that's really telling you something. And also, as you are evolving and you're working through what it is that was in the tarot cards before, you will also see that some people will get triggered by that. So they'll actually be triggered by the fact that you might be becoming a different person. There's been a big identity shift for many of us this year. And with that dropping of that old self means that we also drop some of the old behaviours, and we might not be available to some people like we once were. And that might be a problem for them. It shouldn't be a problem for you. You're moving on with your life. But it means that you might not be always available to fix or listen to them, or to, sometimes in some cases, there might have been where you've been overindulging that person, where they need to go off and look at their issues themselves. And the thing about this is that some people can get annoyed about that and they can get peed off. But that's absolutely fine. You can't stop your evolvement and your own self-development and healing for fear of the fact that you might lose people on the way. And quite often we do, guys, because we have to release them for their own healing, and for their own, self-reflection. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it there. I'm sending you all my love. Have an amazing July. Personally for me, Cancer season is great for going into the cave and working with the energies. It's a real nurturing time, but I'm actually really looking forward to this Leo energy because it feels very vibrant for me. It feels very uplifting, and it's shedding light on some areas that we're just going to let go of this month. That's going to be very self-empowering. We are birthing something new. For all of us, that's going to be different. But just look after yourselves and be well. And I will see you on the other side. I'll see you for another reading at some point. Just have an amazing month. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd love to hear what you think, what you're sensing, what you're feeling about it, because I'm sure you'll get your own intuitive hits as well. All right, guys, take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon. Take good care.